The crew of the Polish presidential plane, which crashed in western Russia last year, made grievous mistakes during the landing approach. That's according to a Warsaw-led investigation into the catastrophe, which killed President Lech Kaczynski and dozens of the country's political elite. The findings also suggest the pilot ignored warnings to pull up, and the crew's navigator was not fluent in Russian. The report did, however, conclude that the Russian side didn't properly inform the crew about the harsh weather conditions, and also suggests the airport where the presidential plane was heading wasn't ready to provide a safe landing. RT's Alexei Yaroshevsky has more from Warsaw.
This report, which basically publishes the results of the investigation held by the Polish side, has been very long anticipated in Poland. It took almost a year to compile it, and it took more than a month to actually translate the report into Russian and English. The country's interior minister has already hinted that the report would be very painful for Poland to come to terms with, but still, this is the result of the Polish investigation. Well, after the plane crash on April the 10th, 2010, which killed most of the country's political elite, 96 people, including the presidential couple Lech Kaczynski and his wife Maria. When Russia started the investigation, making it clear that it was the crew of the presidential airplane which is to blame for the tragic plane crash, along with the weather conditions, along with the poor qualification of the flight crew. Poland and some parties in Poland, nationalist parties, including the party of the brother of the former president, Jarosław Kaczynski, were accusing Moscow of holding back facts and concealing information and stalling the investigation. So these parties demanded that Warsaw should hold its very own investigation. At some point of time, even Prime Minister Tusk, who is known to be in very warm ties with Moscow, he was also criticizing Russia for the way it was handling the investigation. But still, we understand that after the investigation by Poland started, Russia was also taking part in it, assisting the Polish investigators, providing all the needed documents. And now this report is due to put paid to all the speculation as to whether Russian air traffic controllers were to blame for this crash. The press conference which announces the results of this investigation, this report, is happening now as we speak, and certainly we'll be bringing all the details as the press conference comes to an end, and we'll be updating our viewers with all the latest information.
Well, Medić, first officer for Dubrovnik Airlines, says operating under heavy pressure forced the pilots to violate flight safety rules, and that was unacceptable.
What needs to be stressed about this accident is that this is a very typical controlled flight into terrain or CFIT accident. Basically, this has happened all over the world plenty of times, and unfortunately it seems that it will happen again. When you have several factors that make you want to get there on time, sometimes some pilots are willing to push the boundaries of what they should legally do and what they should reasonably do. And, you know, this is not done in poor faith. I'm sure these guys were absolutely confident they could handle this, but they managed to ignore several warning signs that were just not supposed to be ignored. And the actual investigation found that they would have gotten out of it had they commenced the go-around, basically missing the approach and starting to climb again as low as 40 meters. But they didn't even try. They tried at 10 meters, which was way too late before they hit the trees. So unfortunately, this kind of an accident has been seen all over the world, and I'm afraid that in a few years down the line we'll see something like this again. So in my opinion, as a civilian pilot who operates big jets to big airports and to small airports under various meteorological conditions, I do not think this approach should have been even attempted.
Well, for more on that, you can log on to our website at rt.com, where you can find out more about the Russia-led investigation into the Polish